And worked with her so many years. She's such a delight and so patient. I learned patience through her. I'm still working on it, but she demonstrates that peace and compassion. Reverend Rosie came to the First Spiritualist Church in November of 2000 and found and experienced a wonderful healing atmosphere. Like many who come to a spiritual church, Reverend Rosie discovered her true treasure, her spiritual path. It's a foundation for serving humanity. She took many of the classes at First Spiritualist Church offered and was ordained a minister on December 31st, 2005. Reverend Rosie Oberlies is a Reiki master and is assistant pastor now here at the First Christian Spiritualist Church. Reverend Rosie believes that we all have come to the earth plane to learn, to live, and express the spiritual life while we are on earth, clothed in a physical body. Let's welcome warmly, please, Reverend Rosie Oberlies.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to see all of you here. Got warm all of a sudden. I think I got Chris-itis.
Went down a little bit.
Oh, we got the beer?
Yeah, we'll turn.
Ooh. So, thank you. Okay, this is the week after Easter. Just these Easter lilies are beautiful. Just, they're all kind of pointing out all their beautiful healing flower of energy to you all. I mean, they're just beautiful. So I'm going to begin my lecture with Isaiah chapter 55, 8 through 10. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than yours, and my thoughts than your thoughts. As the rain and the snow comes down from the heavens, and do not return to it without watering the earth and making it bud and flourish, it will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it. This is saying that his thoughts are higher than ours, and sometimes we think we can't do it, and he wouldn't send things this way to you if he didn't think you could master it, Last week we celebrated Easter, and it was a lovely and it was a perfect day. It was beautiful. And the day was peace, and it was love beyond measure. And I still feel that lifting up of our hearts and thoughts this past week after a time of reflection. It was a beautiful week last week. It really was. I don't know if we're all getting more sensitive because of the way the world is, but it was very, very touching. And let us keep the risen love in our thoughts, hearts, and consciousness. Like Christmas, we carry the spirit of Christmas long after the Yuletide holiday is over. We slow down and we enjoy the memories and the meaning and the wonderful experiences that we are touched by. So for Easter, let us slow down and let us hold on to the risen truth, not let everyday worries and concerns take away our Easter light. Let us take time and linger on the sacred meaning and the beauty of Easter, and let it help us overcome the everyday troubles and irritations, impatience, and try to sneak in. They do sneak in. All of a sudden you're thinking thoughts that are kind of negative, and you just have to catch them right then and there and just say, no, I don't believe that way anymore. When I go through bouts of worry, it seems to me that you can think of so many things that can happen and so many things that can go wrong. And sometimes you can misinterpret a conversation and take offense. Worry keeps us caged in, and we need to be free. And our natural way is the spiritual path, not focusing on personal worldly threats. A caged bird is, the desire of a caged bird is to fly freely. And the spiritual path does that for us. And another thing, too, that really takes our awareness away is the news is at our fingertips now. We've got a little cell phone that we can know what's going on in the world. And we're deeply concerned for the unknown future that threatens our lifestyle and for others on the planet. And because we feel that way, we really get involved with our heart. We're worried about people across the world now, because what's affecting us is affecting them, because we're one. And so this is another thing that can take away our spiritual confidence, and we get to worrying and concern about what can happen, what possibly can happen. We know how rocky our thoughts can be, and when our mind gets focused on daily news, the mind gets out of control during these uncertain and intimidating times. They can be very intimidating because we feel that we're powerless, but we're not. We just have to focus not on the troubles, and we know the possibilities that things will work out. We have to hold that light. They call it positive thinking, but we go beyond that because it's spiritual. It comes from the higher source, and that source is within us. And yes, we get off the track. Sometimes I get a headache because I'm concerned, but you can't do that to yourself. We have to unite and think that there's only one power in this world. That was the Easter truth. We go to the Father. And all these things, these thoughts make us feel that our footing is unstable ground, and our faith gets queasy. Even in the beginning of our spiritual journey, it can be that way. When you take your first steps in the spiritual path, when I first started, when you take those first steps, you want proof. You want proof that you're on the right track, because you're really going into a belief that you're letting go. When you think you're in charge and you try to control things, you're afraid to let go. But in the spiritual path, you have to learn to take chances. You think you're in control, but you're not. You've been protected. We desire stability. We want problems to go away. That's what I thought at first. I thought, why are these problems coming? But they are to take your spiritual knowledge and work with them. And sometimes that's really hard, because you really think it's vulnerable. It makes you vulnerable. You ask, am I on the right path? And I used to think, why aren't all the doors opening and taking away my problems? But I think think sometimes when you get so worried and so concerned, you realize that you have to have help. And so you go to a higher power, and this is where your lessons start. But what comes to the rescue is there'll be synchronicities. And it's to let our awareness know and to grab our attention and validate that you're going in the right direction. It's your compass, it's your mindset. Your mindset is validated, and those bumps in the road are test trials, lessons, samples of how spirit works, and teaching you as you struggle with doubt. You're building trust. You learn to recall all past mercies, victorious memories that were major overcomings. They were hurdles that you hurdled over, that you jumped over, that you worked with, and you begin to see the goodness of God on your spiritual path. When I talk about synchronicities, sometimes there are little examples that'll show you, make you think. And one of them was, I had some problems, and I was coming down College Avenue, and I was right there on College and University. And there was those electrical boxes that they painted. They paint pictures on them there, you know. And it had two fishes going this way and that way. And down here was a clam with a pearl in the middle. And I was at a red light, and I was looking at it, and I thought, oh, that's clever, you know, that's really nice. And I got to thinking, because I was thinking of the problem and this wanting a solution. And so when I looked at that, and I thought, what came to me was the two little fishes, they're going in different directions. You know, so how your mind can be all over the place, you know. But out of that problem, out of that confusion of those fishes going in opposite direction, was the clam making a pearl. So a clam, you know, when it gets an irritant, it makes a pearl. And so I got to thinking, well, maybe I'm just making a pearl. You know, I have to start. I see now. I can. And those are the little things that come in. That you got to be open. You know, and they don't come in a big landslide. It's just, it's part of your spiritual path that you become aware of. Now, the last time I spoke on discernment, and that's a deep thought, and it's not to skim over things or thoughts. It's not to take people or situations or challenges at face value. It's to refrain from lingering on the problem and to think deeply, to seek and search for solutions, to see both sides. Sometimes you don't like to hear that one side, you don't agree with it, but that is a teaching moment. And you have to ask Spirit to help you, guide you through that. You know, you don't agree with somebody, but you have to, in your quiet times, you have to tell yourself, what do you want me to learn out of this? Or sometimes what happens is when you start to judge that, all of a sudden, Spirit shows you where you are, when that person is a mirror for you, they're showing you something that you need to learn. And when you start getting more comfortable with that, it'll open a lot of doors for you. There's a potential wisdom and awareness to see from God's perspective, and it expands your consciousness. But the expanding of the consciousness is very subtle. You don't even know sometimes it's happening until you encounter a problem and it doesn't bother you. You seem to know how to handle it. Or you go straight to Spirit and say, okay, you don't need, I'm waiting, I need an answer. And you have the patience to, if it's not coming right away, you wait. There's a reason to wait too. You don't like to wait. I feel like everything is an emergency. And I want the answer now. But I learn to let it go. So it doesn't mean I'm always perfect with it. But every day is a learning lesson for that. So, and take time and patience to work on your own self-research. Why does this person, situation, predicament cause me to be irritated or stressed? And it's like sand in the shoe or the sand in the clam, You have to work on that. Your desired goal is to calmly and respectfully communicate. Boy, if you can do that, you can save a lot of, put out a lot of fires. But just be patient with yourself, and it's all a learning process. Now, there are times when an issue can be returned to refresh or a correctional relapse. I thought that was funny. It wasn't me. It just came, A correctional relapse for another level of healing, a deeper healing that heals an issue completely. And then you have the privilege of helping another with it in a similar lesson. So, that's why it's rewarding when you overcome, a mountain or a hill, like in the 121st Psalm. I lift my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? It comes from the Lord. And when you start to incorporate that in your spiritual life, it really does make you feel so good. So for Easter to me, the Christ within, the Christ that's with you and within you, desires to come forth. His life, his light is higher than ours, and we keep our consciousness on the risen truth, and the darkness will drain away, and to dwell on the Easter light. There's another example of synchronicity. When I was at the other church, there was a picture it's the road of Emmaus. It's in your, it's both in the Aquarian Gospel and it's in your Bible. And it shows a path, and three men are on it, and one is Jesus, and the other one is, the other one, there's no name, but the other one is Cleophas. And so he encounters them on the road. And so what they're doing is they're talking about what happened, and that Christ was crucified, and the wonderful things that he did, and people betrayed him. And they don't recognize that the Christ is with them. And so the painting was kind of had trees here, the path is here, they're on the road, and right in here is the sun and the light. And when I saw that, I thought it was pretty, but the more I looked at it as months went by, and I began to think about, this is a message here, it's to keep your eye on the light. Keep your eye on the light, because Jesus is pointing to the light and talking to them. And so I didn't always hold it a lot, but when I would come in there, I would see it, and it would make me feel good. But it wasn't until maybe a year later that when I really looked at it, is down here was a drainage, when the rains come, and it was beautiful, arched with pebbles, not pebbles, but big cobblestones. And it's a dark area, so you don't see it in the painting as clear as you do where the light is shining. And so I looked down at that drain. I thought, I never saw that, and I looked at it. And then the message was, if you keep your eye on the light, it'll drain. The darkness will drain. It'll go away, So that picture, I loved it. I didn't think they would ever sell it. And when I asked for it, I decided maybe I had a chance to get it. It was gone. So, but you see, it's left a message for me in my heart, And so that's how you find little synchronicities. There's always something talking to you. If you see the beauty, because these are a week old and they're absolutely gorgeous, They're like little trumpets, giving you all good vibrations. These here? Are you looking at the, Hattie, were you looking at the?
Well, yeah, I thought you were pointing over there.
Oh. Yeah, they're right here. Because I feel like they're going doo, 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 doo. So maybe you play games like that. I don't think they're games. I think they're just being childlike. And that's the way you have to be in a way in your spiritual path. Because look at these lovely little children that believe that Jesus loves them. I remember singing that song. And then as I got older, I questioned that. I don't know how I sometimes can't love myself, But now you realize that the most important thing is your spiritual path. And yes, you're going to have questions about it. And yes, you're going to have problems. But this is what gives you the strength to overcome. And that's why it was really guided for me to tell you to reminisce the Easter memories. We had a beautiful day here, wonderful fellowship in the hall, and the reason for the light that came to earth. And so I'd like to end my lecture. Roll the stone away, and let the holy breath within be thy life guardian. Let the Christ within you come forth. And when we honor the Christ within ourselves, we also honor the Christ in others. In communion and in meditation, we honor God's presence, and we're eager to follow guidance and direction. Rise above the worldly, false obstructions, and let the light of truth risen lead and guide your new life. Christ has overcome the world for every one of us to mirror. And so we're really mirroring each other to help each other. And then Spirit wanted me, because this came out of nowhere on my cell phone. It's from Mahatma Gandhi, excuse me. You must be the change you wish to see in the world. You must be the change to see what you wish for in the world. So if you want peace, you want patience, you want violence to go away, work at prayer. Make it, a priority. And it can be a quick prayer in the morning, that's all. It'll get you started. But anyhow, so it was a pleasure to talk. And so thank you so much.